we have Stan Countz, who is here to talk to us about supporting and buying locally. That kind of sounds right, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So why do we not buy locally?
Well, a lot of people think that they're getting a better bargain when they buy from China Mart or when they buy from, but they just don't think about it. Usually, they just don't think about it.
Let's turn that around. So if they want to, there we go.
A lot of people just that when they buy, they don't realize the power of their dollar. That when you buy from a chain store, for example, you're getting you're supporting that headquarters, wherever their headquarters is. So what we want to do is let them know that there are great bargains available from local merchants, and if we can keep the money local. I read a statistic recently, it just kind of blew my mind. It said if every family in the country spent $100 at a locally owned independent business instead of a chain, over $9.3 billion would be directly returned to local economies. That's a lot of money. That's more dollars and more zeros than I can probably even envision.
You know, I've been talking recently with John Duarte about the water issue, and it's kind of the same thing. They were talking about 1 gallon of water or 1 acre foot going somewhere else is depleted and it's gone, versus if we keep it here, it's almost like to the 7th or 10th power if we keep it here. Sounds like the dollar is the same way. So we understand financially why we should buy local, but are there other reasons as well?
Well, yes, because, well, first of all, locally owned businesses reinvest 60% more into the local economy than chain stores or internet sales. So if you buy something on the internet, really there's no local police or anything like that that are supported from that, for the most part. Also, for every square foot that a local firm occupies, well, the local economy gains $179 versus $105 for a chain.
Really?
Yeah. People, they just don't think. It's not that hard to go to a locally owned coffee house versus, let's say, Starbucks. It's not that hard. It's not difficult.
Actually, the cost is a little bit less at the local. Yeah,
it's less, and it helps the local economy drastically. For example, $100 spent at an independent business returns $68 to the local community, if that's local. If you're spending it locally. If you spend that same amount at a national chain, it's only $43. So multiply that out, and you can see. And then these local businesses work with other local businesses. So now this whole economy is somehow buttressed. And there's some communities where the local first movement started was in Michigan, in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And then it began to spread all over the country.
Yeah, now I was remiss when I introduced you that you, what you're here to talk about is local first, which is that a business, or you were just saying that it kind of started in, okay.
It's really a movement. It's a grassroots movement that started outside of this area. It started in Grand Rapids, and then it just kind of started popping up in little movements all across the nation. If you just Google local first, you'll see there's movements in Arizona and Utah and Cambridge and Santa Cruz and all over. And I started this up in Modesto. A lot of people wondered why I would need to talk about something that seems so basic, like supporting your local community. But most people just don't think. They just run out, and if they need something, they'll run over to a big box store, and they don't realize how many local companies there are. So we created a portal that allows you to go to get information about who's local and what do they have to offer. There's local online coupons. We even have a membership card that you can flash to 300 local merchants, and they'll give you a discount every time you show it. So we're trying to educate people about why shop local, and at the same time work with the small businesses. I feel like if you could get a bunch of little minnows together in the same school going the same direction, they could actually get to the food before the whale even turns around and figures out where the food is. Because the whale is a bigger animal, and it takes a while to get it to move. So the little guys they can't outspend the whales, but they can outmaneuver them.
Sometimes what I have heard is, not talking about coffee, because we know how expensive Starbucks is versus like Mocha Magic or Move in Mocha, those places. But some stores actually cost less. And the merchandise at their stores costs anywhere from 10 to 40% less than at some local stores. And, everybody's hurting for money. So
Yes.
what can local businesses offer the patrons that the box stores or, another big chain cannot?
Well, those little small ma and pa businesses aren't always ma and pa. Some of them are very well run, well organized businesses that have been around for 30, 40, 50 years. But what they can offer is much better service. Many times, if you go to a locally owned hardware store, for example, there's not very many of those left, but like say True Value or something, they know their merchandise. It's not necessarily the guy that's only been there a week that barely knows his product and that they moved around to another department. If you ever try to get help in one of those really big stores, sometimes they don't really know the product very well. So I would say knowledge of the product, and I haven't noticed the prices to be majorly that much difference between True Value, for example, and one of the big box stores. There might be a couple cents here or a couple of dollars here, but it's not huge.
Now, I noticed that there's some coupons on the front, and you mentioned like a card. Let me go ahead and hold that up too.
Right.
Are these all local businesses? That
Most of them, for the most part, they are. Now, this is just a mock-up, but we actually have an 8-page version of this ready to go to the printer right now, and the vast majority of every single offer in there are from local merchants. This particular example, this mock-up, not necessarily so much, but the real deal, the one that we're really coming out with in about 2 weeks, will be about probably 95% all locally owned.
Now, this seems like a national chain, the one here on the front. Are they owned by local people?
A lot of times you can't tell the difference between like for example, Chicago Uno Grill. A lot of people might think it's a big national chain, but it's a local franchise. What is that place? What's that place over there by the big Walmart that serves hamburgers? Fuddruckers. A lot of people think that's a big national chain. It's a local franchise.
And I have to say, the manager there, Tony,
Yeah.
is outstanding.
Yeah.
That's where we have our meetings, over there.
Yeah.
Excellent customer service there every time I've been there.
So there are levels of local. There are levels of local.
Well, how do we find out who is local and who is not?
Well,
I mean, we don't want to be an uneducated shopper.
Right. For example, from the outside, you might think that let's say Food Max is a chain, right? But did you know?
It appears.
Did you know
there's one in Reading.
Did you know that Food Max is owned by Save Mart, which was started in Modesto?
I did not know that it was owned by Save Mart. I know that Save Mart was started here.
Yeah, Save Mart was started here, and Food Max is one of their products. So there's a lot of levels. The grocery outlet is locally owned and operated. They have a buying co-op that they're part of.
Yeah, because there's one in Tracy too.
Right.
But how do we find out a list? Where do
Well,
we get this list?
I-
Are you the go-to man for the
No,
list of
I'm
local?
I'm not the only resource, but I have been working very hard for about 2 years to put together a directory of local resources, and I've done that at localfirst.biz. And it's not trying to be a plug for me, but really, when you go there and you do a search for local resources, you do find trusted local resources. I'm not saying that it's complete or that it's definitive, but it is a good place to start your search.
We'll be sure to put that in the information box too, because sometimes it's hard to remember all these websites, but I'll definitely put it in there.
If you just put local first and you don't even remember .biz, it's the third one that comes up nationwide.
Good.
Out of,
Excellent.
I don't know, 4 million websites.
Well, what else do you have here?
Well,
I noticed you have a magazine.
What I mainly am trying to do is work with small businesses to make sure that they have a fighting chance, because a lot of times by the time these small businesses are going out, you just discovered them. They're going out by the time you discover them. So I would really like to see those guys be able to thrive and not just survive in this economy. So.
Well, you know, I go to city council meetings, Modesto city council meetings, fairly regularly, and every time that I go, there are new businesses that are given awards or certificates for starting a new business. They have 7 employees or 20 employees or sometimes 100 employees, and it's nice to see that happening, but I would like to see 1 year from now that same business getting another award saying, here's for staying in business for a year. So like what you say, sometimes, you know, they're out of business as soon as you find out that they're there.
Right, because there's a lot of anti-business people.
We'll get to that next
Okay,
interview.
That's another issue. But anyway, I'm doing what I can. I'm doing my part, and I really do care about small business owners and what they are able to do. I think we can do a lot together.
I'm not sending you away just yet.
Okay.
I thank you for coming tonight. I know we only have
Okay.
about another minute or two of your interview, but I would like to hear about your magazine.
Okay,
Because
well,
that's getting ready, isn't it?
yeah, there's a group of people that are getting ready to launch it's a magazine by, for, and about the upwardly mobile Hispanic. And it's called Vision Magazine. And it's not my magazine, it's someone else started it. I helped get it started and brought all the people together. Not really actively involved in it, but I wish them well, and I hope they're very successful.
You're involved with the LCR, Latino
Yeah,
Community Roundtable. Would you
my
like to?
My wife is Latina, and I've been married to her for 34 years. And my family, the gringo side of the family, is all gone. So the only people I really have that I connect with is my wife's side of the family, which they're all Hispanic. So I'm usually the token white guy in every group that I'm in. So.
Would you like to give them a shout out as well? I know they have meetings.
Oh
once
yeah,
or
they've
twice
got
a
all
month.
kinds of activities. I think they've probably got they're pretty active in promoting on Facebook and through emails and such. But my goal is just to help not only local businesses but local nonprofits, local talent, and right now what I have in the works is a local flavor festival to bring together all those elements: the nonprofit community, the business community, and the talent.
Is there going to be food, or is
There will be
is flavor
food.
just a figure?
No,
of
there's going to be
speech?
food.
Okay.
There's going to be definitely food.
Okay. Well, call in on Friday. Okay.
Okay.
We'll put you on the schedule, and I'll send you out a reminder on Thursday.
Okay.
So, because last Friday we talked about local businesses with Joshua S. Steves, and it's towards the beginning of the hour. So I'd like to have you come back
Okay.
and talk about that.
No problem.
Because this is very important to our local economy. So
I believe that.
I'll
Thank
send you away now.
Okay.
And oh, wait, where can we find you on Facebook?
Oh, just local first, or you can put in Stan Countz. I'm
Okay.
eminently Googleable.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
There you go.